late modernism in New York became a very insular environment. And New Yorkers, for being as worldly as they are actually somewhat provincial in the sense that if it didn't happen on the island of Manhattan, it doesn't count.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and this is a true thing. It's kind of crazy. Like, we'll say, early on, well, we can use, CNC equipment to laser cut panels to make a facade system to do this. And they'd be like, well, where has that been done? Oh, it was done in Los Angeles, and it was done in Chicago, and it was done in Miami. And they were like, yeah, that doesn't matter. Where was it done? In Manhattan.
Really?
And if it does, and even the Bronx or Queens or Brooklyn doesn't count to these guys. It just doesn't count to them. And so they want to know, where has it happened?
In what block?
On what block?
What neighborhood? Because if it's on the wrong block, then sorry, that doesn't count. On what? Chelsea?
No, they're much more broadly than that. So it's actually kind of funny. We sort of make fun of that provincialism a little bit. But what I will say, and this is maybe controversial, I don't know, but the thing that opened New York up again to looking at the world was 9/11.
Yeah, Neil said the same exact thing.
It was exactly what happened. So I think that New Yorkers didn't know that they didn't have the best architects in the world working there. Mm-hmm. They just didn't know. And then when the competitions for the rebuilding of the Trade Center started and many of the European architects came in, it lit a light bulb or a fire, or whatever you want to say, like under everyone. And they were like, oh my gosh, you mean we don't have like the 10 best architects in the world aren't all, 9 of them aren't in New York? They were in shock. And so, because and I think this was instrumental in the growth of shop in the sense that, we all studied under Bernard Tschumi. And, and Tschumi really came out of the AA and the Institute, Peter Eisenman's Institute in New York. And most of our faculty were either students or professors at either in Europe or at the Institute. And so we were almost educated more as Europeans than we were as Americans. And so we were almost European educated, New York born, young enough that we could adapt the digital really fast, old enough that we weren't like kids. And that moment with New York kind of going through this radical transformation gave us those opportunities as a young firm that I think was really instrumental in the success of the practice. But it's super interesting when you think about all those things coming together and in history and then moving down to a couple blocks from the Trade Center, and we're still there and watching the rebuilding. And even though we didn't do anything at the Trade Center, we were in the middle of it, and our East River waterfront was actually part of the rebuilding of Lower Manhattan, which was the first large public project we got. And I think all of those things sort of came together to sort of create an environment where we could try out new things and people were receptive.
When the 9/11 happened,